Hey everyone, welcome. I'm Norman Kinsey as your host here at Real Estate First Technology. We have your Mr. Dan Gandy as our co-host. Welcome, Dan. Thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having me on.
Of course. And we have the one, the only. Welcome to Real Estate First Technology. Well, you'll get the inside scoop from top producing real estate professionals all around the country, best practices, techniques, and learn about what technology they're using to drive to ensure their success in this world we call real estate. Only Dino, and he is in San Francisco at Compass, top 1% agent. He's on fire. And one of our last guests, actually Ina, she is a listing agent 415 and connected us and said, Dino, you got to get on the podcast. So thank you so much for being on the podcast with us today, Dino.
No, thank you, Norman. Dan, thank you so much for having me. This is a great pleasure. You know, I don't do these things too often, so it's exciting for me. Definitely novel to be a part of this process.
Yeah, and with the shutdown, this gives individuals an opportunity to get some additional exposure and be able to still give back to the community as we want to deep dive into your business and learn what are you doing with technology and also how you're navigating. So we're excited to have you today.
No, thank you. No, I'm excited to share. I'm happy to share what I do day to day and how I kind of forecast my business and plan for the future.
Awesome. Fantastic. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we know you're in San Francisco. We know you're with Compass. But what got you into the business? How long you been in the business? And do you just serve San Francisco? Kind of just give us some context there.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in the business. I've been licensed since 2008. So been doing it for a good 11, 12 years now. And I moved out here from Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah, so I grew up in Cleveland. And do you have some Midwest roots, Dan?
I'm from Canton.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, Canton McKinley has a great football team, huh?
They do. They were my rival.
Oh, yeah. Cool. No, that's cool. So anyway, I got an MBA. I had an undergraduate degree in accounting. So I was working in corporate accounting, and then I got my MBA in finance, looking to get into investment banking. And I wanted to come out to San Francisco, California, because it was kind of like the Wall Street of the West Coast. Well, I got out here in 2008 when the market had turned and they were firing bankers, not really hiring bankers. So I kind of quickly looked at my credentials and what I could do to pivot. And my dad was a builder. My dad did construction back in Cleveland and built homes and had a lot of rental properties. So kind of growing up, I knew how to, lay foundation, run electrical, plumbing, hang cabinets, flooring. Yeah, so, my folks were immigrants, so they were very resourceful and very hands-on people. And I learned a lot of that back-end stuff, if you will, on the construction side. So I said, look, maybe I'll be a real estate agent. So I got my license within 6 months of being in San Francisco, and I teamed up with a top producing agent, and I networked my butt off. I talked to commercial agents, residential agents, leasing agents. I didn't know where I would fit in because I had an MBA, and I felt with the MBA I was a little bit more analytical. I could work more on the business side of things. But in 2008, 2009, there were very little commercial deals taking place. It was more office space leasing, if anything, but everyone was kind of at a standstill. So I found myself in residential, which I love. I absolutely adore and love residential real estate. It's very emotional, which I've grown to love. Historically, I was much more analytical and really spreadsheet based, if you will, kind of a quant jock. But I've really kind of grown into the touchy-feely and emotional side of buying a home because it very much is very emotional because as we see now during this quarantine period, people are really getting a sense of their space, how they live, how they use their kitchen, their rear yard if they have one, so these things matter and it's really going to transform the way we live looking ahead. And from there, I worked at Coldwell Banker for 4 years. Then from Coldwell Banker, I went on to Vanguard Properties to focus more on the new construction side and with builders and developers. And then Compass came to town, and Compass kind of plucked the better agents in the city and said, look, we have something great going on here. You'd be a good fit culturally. You should come check us out. And sure enough, I did. And I love Compass. I mean, it's all about the agent there. And they treat agents like we treat clients. They put us as agents number one, and they really support us and they listen to us. So if we have any feedback about the proprietary tools we're using, how we're interfacing with our clients, how we're sharing information, the marketing pieces we're assembling, we share these pieces of feedback, and then they'll make edits and adjustments within days or weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like a great company to work for sure. And they came out of nowhere. I mean, it was like, here they are.
Yeah.
We have a lot of Compass agents that are clients of ours. So they're some of our best. I would say that. Very, very friendly, very hungry, and know what to do. So, in terms of numbers, let's talk numbers. That's your birthday, right? Let's talk production level. So you're top 1%. How many buy side, sell side did you do last year or this year? What this year?
Yeah. So I'll tell you, historically, I was around 27, 28 million, 25 million. But last year I had a breakout year. Last year I more than doubled my production. I did 53.4 million last year. Yeah, it was incredible. And that encompassed 25 transactions. And I'd say 60% of those were on the seller side and about 40% were on the buyer side. And, typically as a new agent in the business, you tend to work with more buyers just because buyers are more readily available and they're a little bit more new to the market. So they kind of trust someone that they kind of get to know on a personal basis. So as new agents get in, they're usually working with buyers. And then on the seller side, sellers typically look for mature, responsible, kind of proven agents, if you will. And I think through the course of me being in this business for 10, 11, 12 years, I've kind of ingrained myself and gained the trust. And I've gotten more seller clients to work with me because this is, a home is the biggest asset in anyone's portfolio for the most part. So you're really entrusted with a lot. And I want to say too, the biggest reason that I've grown, because year over year to double your numbers from 26 million to 53.4 is virtually impossible. It really is. It's especially as a solo agent. I work independently. I don't have a team. I have an assistant who's licensed, who helps me with broker tours and open houses. And then I have a virtual assistant in the Philippines who I absolutely love. She's amazing. She works my hours. She's available. And she helps me on the marketing side and preparation side because there's a lot of operational things that have to get done in the background. But a lot of it, I have a coach. I have a real estate coach. His name is Steve Shull, and it's performancecoaching.com. And Steve is incredible. I mean, he is just a real go-getter. I mean, he was a linebacker in the NFL. He played in the Super Bowl 17 under Don Shula for the Miami Dolphins. So he is just
nice.
Yeah, he is an intense guy. He's been around the block. He's coached more agents in this universe than any other real estate coach, than a Tom Ferry or anyone else that's out there. And he just helps kind of guide you and just kind of give you a sense of clarity for me and just the confidence to know that what you're doing is right. Because, I think as agents, there's a lot of different directions you can go. You can start to do postcards and mailers and cold call and do open houses, and people don't really know where they should go in their business or what is their niche. So working with Steve for almost 2 years now, he's really helped empower me to be the agent that I am today.
Wow. In terms, let's touch on a little bit of those like cold calling and the direct mail. So in terms of technology, like what methods are you using to get clients that's been on the top of the list, right? Top ROI.
Yeah, so I mean, given my family's construction background, I'm kind of an older school agent, if you will. I don't employ too much technology. I'm really it's a contact sport. Real estate is a contact sport, and I think if you want to sell more real estate, you have to talk to more people, and every single day when I wake up in the morning, I wake up positive. You have to live a future present reality. We can talk about more of that later, but you have to wake up positive and ready to go. And for me, I knock on doors. So I canvass areas, I talk to neighbors, I knock on doors, and I introduce myself, and I ask them if there's anything on the real estate side that they might need. They don't have to be ready to buy or sell, but maybe they need a plumber or an electrician or a handyman to come fix a broken faucet or a loose cabinet, or they want to refinish some floors. So just creating value, creating service for people, and really just being available for them. And really, as trite as it might sound, it's really a numbers game. If you want to sell more real estate, you have to talk to more people. And the more people that know you and know about you, chances are they're going to call you and say, "Oh, I met this Dino guy. He seemed real nice and trustworthy. He seems to know the market. Maybe I'll give him a call to see if he can help me give a sense of value in the home, or give me an appraisal, or put me in touch with a contractor."
Nice.
That's awesome.
And then in automation, I mean, I know as you jump from either doubling your production, is there technology automation that you're implementing that has helped you, facilitate a more seamless business?
Yeah, I mean, I think, with Compass is wonderful because internally we have great support. I mean, I have a marketing advisor that when I get a new listing, we try to brand each home like a PR firm. Like, say, for example, you create a new widget and you go to your marketing department and you say, look, we have to create excitement and branding and a name and a touch and feel around this product. I take my homes and my new listings to my marketing team and internal marketing advisors, and I say, look, how can we position this home to stand out from the others? And so internally within Compass, I sit down with a marketing advisor and we kind of carve out who the buyer is going to be, who we think the buyer is going to be, how should we adjust the interior layout, or the paint colors is the easiest way to go, who should stage the home. I have 5 or 6 different stagers. So I think processy-wise, just having a great marketing advisor internally. And then I use different, we have a transaction coordinator too. So as far as processing the paperwork, getting the disclosure package put together, I have a wonderful transaction coordinator who's very diligent. He follows compliance with CAR and helps me prepare that paperwork with the seller to make sure that we're disclosing everything that we need to disclose to any prospective buyer. So I think having internal people like that kind of help facilitate. And then I use SendGrid, as far as an email campaign program, I use SendGrid, and I send out a weekly email. And I think it's good to stay top of mind with people. So I send out every Saturday morning, I'll send out a weekly news piece about the latest information on the market, whether there's a new high-rise going up or there's a new restaurant opening or an eviction claim that's taking place with a landlord.
Love that campaign.
Yeah, exactly. So, and that tends to kind of be top of mind. And then I also love LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn for business professionals, I tend to, I went to a Jesuit university, so I try to connect with people who went to other Jesuit universities throughout the country. I think there's about 28 Jesuit universities. So we have a common thread there. And I try to really connect with people because you're trying to be of service to others. We're in the Jesuit motto, men and women for others. And that's really what I try to employ and connect with people, because we're very like-minded and being of service and helping. They don't have to be necessarily less fortunate, but just helping someone with anything that they might be dealing with or having a challenge with. So LinkedIn's been a great tool for me too, just to kind of get in front of people and stay relevant.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. And I'm going to go a little off script just because of the times that we're in. So is LinkedIn, because you said as soon as you wake up, I love the fact that you said you have that positive mindset. You wake up, you want to talk to as many people as you can, do the door knocking, circle back. Is there anything I could do to be of service? So now with the whole stand in place, COVID-19, these ordinance, how are you then now touching and reaching people? Is it LinkedIn, or are you now more on social media? Like, how are you navigating?
That's a great question. That's a great question. I mean, I certainly am not doing any door knocking, unfortunately, right now. It's
passed up.
Yeah, exactly. But I am doing more LinkedIn for sure, and being in touch with folks there. And then I'm following up a lot with past clients. I'm really staying in touch. I think a lot of this, to really be successful in real estate, it's a repeat and referral business. So you really have to take care of your existing clients. And if you really want to excel, you really have to take to heart the fact that it's a repeat and referral business. So what I do is I follow up with past clients regularly. I'll touch base with them. I'll send them something in the mail. Hey, I'm thinking of you. Here's something for your dog, or hey, congrats on your first baby. Here's something for Kids Are Us, or what have you. But I just always follow up with past clients and current clients, and just even with my existing clients, just staying in front of them and being of service and letting them know that I'm available. If they need anything. And then just, when I'm out and about, just keeping my eyes peeled. I'll tell you a quick story. Earlier this year, I was door knocking, and I came across a home here in Noe Valley that was being nearly done in construction. And I went to the house and I went inside. Typically I just kind of walk in like I own the place, because you have to walk in with some conviction. And I walked in the backyard and there was 2 guys working in landscaping. And I said, hey, who's the owner? Can you share me his information with me? Do you know if they're going to be moving in or selling? And long story short, the owner was actually outside in his car on the phone. He came out, got to talking to him. and try to get a listing and relationship with him, but he had already been talking to a few agents. And then I stayed in touch, and we had a great rapport. About 3 weeks later, I got a call from a past client who I met 4 years ago, and he said, I'm looking for something in the area. Do you know of anything? And I said, actually, I know of something that's exactly what you're looking for. And we got a deal done off market for $6.3 million. Just by door knocking, just by staying in front of people and just kind of keeping stuff top of mind. And it was just when the quarantine period was getting kicked off. So it was incredible how it all came to be. And my client got an incredible deal because it was off market, and the way we structured it was wonderful. And really both buyer and seller were truly happy. So,
wow.
That brings up a good point real quick, is that anyone can sell real estate, right, and put it on the MLS. But to be a really good agent, you play your database and you play matchmaker. I have a property, or I can find you a property. Let me deep into my database. Oh, wait, I met somebody. Connect the dots. Play matchmaker. That's how you make the most money.
It is. Yeah, that's right. And that's where you create value. Anyone can go on the MLS and look at, run a search and see what comes up and, forward it or whatever. But to really be in the market, that's why real estate's a local business. You want to work with somebody that's local. Look, I don't do much in the North Bay, South Bay, East Bay, unless I have very dear clients who are adamant about working with me. It's a disservice, frankly, to some degree if I work with them in that market, because I'm just not in touch as I am with San Francisco. So.
Yeah. And what I took from what you said as well is you're always thinking of the opportunity. So you're out there doing what you're doing, but you're looking for opportunity, and you're being more of an opportunist instead of just sitting there on your phone or just, doing other things that doesn't let you see, like, oh, there's construction, there's this, there's that. And then you can then put that into your newsletter and tell your past clients and individuals that are part of your network. And I love that. And I think that being an opportunist is definitely going to help, because if you pay attention to the details, that's where you can really start to excel. And one thing that comes up for me is you look at people that buy $1 million+ homes. It's all in the details. It's the crown molding. It's the little doorknob. It's a little handle. It's a little custom this, custom that. And that's why I feel a lot of successful realtors, as far as yourself, are opportunists that look at the bigger picture. They're not so just looking at the numbers or worried or stressed out about why this, why that. Like you said, you wake up in the morning, you're positive, and you're seeing these things, you're connecting the dots, and then boom, you automatically, that's awesome. Wow.
Yeah, no, it was God. Honestly, it was God's grace, the way the deal came together with the timing and COVID and the quarantine. Because now, obviously, transactionally, we're seeing a good drop, 30, 40, 50% in volume, just because there's just some uncertainty, and both on the buyer side and seller side, no one really wants to transact necessarily. So,
it'll come back.
It'll come back. Yeah, well, yeah.
There's like everything's like a pressure cooker right now, and like you haven't pushed the little button to let out the steam.
Yeah.
So
a lot of it's confidence, as well as my wife and I. A little off script here. My wife and I are actually selling our place here in Hayward, and it gets listed next week on May 6th. And we're still moving forward. We're not gonna, think twice about it. And I actually went, Dan and I, to a meeting this morning for RMA over in Danville area, and went to their brokerage tour meeting, because they're all online now, and talked about it. So you just got to be proactive here. So we're getting closer to the end of the show, and want to find out, so now seeing where you're at, and where do you see yourself in the next 5 years for your business?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I want to expand my team. I think I want to create more of a presence. And I think, too, just getting more into the development side, too, being more of a developer and kind of getting into the construction side, just because I know and I understand how the planning department works and how the building department works. And I have so many relationships with electricians and plumbers and contractors that it'd be great. And it's kind of fun to kind of get involved with a project and kind of reshape it and recarve it. And you're helping the community, because there's so many homes. I mean, homes in San Francisco are over 100 years old, and there's beautiful Edwardians, Victorians that need some attention and love. And to be able to be a part of that history and to be a part of the renovation, and to share that with somebody, and to have a buyer come in and to really enjoy what you've done and to love it and to make it their home. I mean, it says a lot. So I think for me, I'd love to build my real estate practice with quality folks that have, good efficacy, good fundamentals, are very competent, very trustworthy, and then just kind of get more into the development side of things would be great. I think this is a lifestyle business, and that's what I love about real estate. It's like if you're a physician, you go to a cocktail party and you start to talk to somebody and you tell them that you're a physician. They're like, oh, you know what? I've always had this back pain. What do you, So it's similar to like real estate. You're at a cocktail party and you get to talking and someone learns you're a real estate agent and they'll be like, oh, did you see that house that traded? Or what did you think about the finishes at that house? And so it's always a constant discussion around it, which is fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And last question for me, I really love asking this question is, what are some 1 or 2 tips that you would give an agent that just got licensed to get the ball rolling, get out there and make it happen?
Well, I think that's a great question, Dan. I think, if I were a brand new agent, I think what I would do is I would identify, I would pull a ranking report of the top 10 agents in your market. And I would say, look, who are the top 10 agents? And I would do some background on each individual and see where you culturally fit, maybe top 20, and see where would you culturally fit. And then you need to get in front of that agent and you need to want to join their team and figure out how you can be a part of their team. And if that means working for 6 months for free or 9 months for free, then you do that, because that's what I did. And I learned so much with that top agent. You see more deals. You meet vendors. I mean, you know who to work with, you know who not to work with. On the inspection side, for example, different things with soil, geotechnical, etc. There's just so much to learn in this business. I mean, you wear so many hats that you want to find out who the top agents are and then try to get in their team to do whatever they need you to do. And then I also think just keeping your head on straight. I think this can be such a lonely business. Being a real estate agent can be a very lonely business. You're out there every single day, and you're not a corporate structure where you go in and you have a manager and you have a subordinate staff associate person that you can kind of bounce ideas off of. So you really have to have your head on straight. And I think you have to read good books. I think, Ryan Holiday is a great author. He wrote Stillness is the Key, Ego is the Enemy, An Obstacle is the Way. 3 great books. I think if you read Ryan Holiday's books, Joe Dispenza, Becoming Supernatural, he wrote a great book. It just talks about living a future present reality, asking yourself, what do you see yourself doing? Like you asked in 5 years, and kind of living that today. And it's all about emotion. You really have to feel it. You have to feel it now, because you have to think greater than you feel. Like sometimes you wake up and you're not feeling that great. Well, you have to think greater than that feeling, and you have to stay conscious. 95% of what we do on autopilot. And I think most people don't realize it, but you really have to take a conscious stance in your life. And that's where my coach, Steve Shull, has helped me a great deal, is just taking a conscious stance and really understanding and being self-aware, and that's becoming conscious and becoming self-aware of what your thoughts are. And your thoughts are just your thoughts. Your thoughts aren't necessarily true. So you have to recognize that thought. You have to observe that thought and then just let it go. It's kind of one of those things. But Dr. Joe Dispenza is incredible, Becoming Supernatural. And I think just, real estate can be a very lonely business. So just kind of keeping your head on straight and staying positive. And it's a blue sky business. I mean, this is a blue sky business. You can make as much as you want to make. You can service as many clients as you want to service. It just comes down to how badly do you want it, and where your head's at. So,
wow.
Great advice, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, that was huge. And Dr. Joe Dispenza is pretty amazing. My wife and I got into that. And go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say, and you answered the next question. You read our mind.
When it just seamlessly flows, I like that. So offline, we'll have to connect there. So fantastic. You already gave some good books. That's fantastic. And if you want to give any more, you're more than welcome. And the last question from us is what would you like to say in closings for our viewers and listeners out there to take from today's episode?
No, thank you, Norman, Dan. I mean, really appreciate this opportunity. It's been a lot of fun. And I think, just live life and enjoy yourselves. And I think, whatever is important to you, make it a focus. And I think you can have anything you want. I really, really believe that. So I just encourage everyone to stay positive and just know that we're going to get through whatever it is we're dealing with today. everything comes to pass. And just keep that close and dear to your heart, and just know that we'll persevere. And there's no reason to get down in the dumps about anything. Just keep your head up and just look on forward, look ahead. So.
Wow, that's awesome. No, very selfless way to end the episode. We have some that are like, join my team, and some of the other things about listings or follow them online. Yeah, exactly. But I love your approach, because it's almost like instead of you needing to say something yourself, being more selfless, and now I want to say things for you. There's his website. And yeah, be sure to check out Dino and follow him on his social media. And yeah, just thank you so much. And we really appreciate you being on the show. Definitely believe that everything happens for a reason. You came just from a referral, and that's awesome. And a lot of this show is just natural. It's free flowing. People come on and come and go based off of referrals or social media or connecting with someone. So thank you so much for our listeners. I'm sure they're going to take some good information for today in our viewers.
You know anybody too that should be on? Let us know.
I will. No, absolutely, Dan. Absolutely. No, I appreciate it.
Likewise. And thanks so much, Dan, for being the co-host today.
Sure.
And thanks for our listeners and viewers. And we hope that you took something from today's episode that you can apply to your business so you can have more success. Wish you all well. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We hope you found value and took something you can apply to your business today. Be sure to join our community on Facebook, Real Estate vs. Technology, all spelled out. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We would appreciate it. It's Real Estate Tech. And of course, if you or someone else you know would like to be a part of our show, just go ahead and send us an email. It's reversetechtalk@gmail.com, and we'll see you next week.